Hi, it is me, Bishop J from Camp Gilgal TV, and I am with you today. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord power you with everything you need. God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is alive. Community of Camp Gilgal TV, I welcome you. If it's your first time, you come across this channel called Camp Gilgal TV, and it is our community, and you are more than welcome to join our community by kindly subscribing to the channel, and you like also the video. We're going to share today on the spirit of poverty. Is the spirit of poverty demonic? Or maybe I can say to be or not to be poor. To be or not to be poor. It is set on the book of Deuteronomy chapter 15. Deuteronomy chapter 15 verse 1 to 11. Jesus quote that verse 11 of Deuteronomy in John chapter 12 verse 8. He quoted also in Mark chapter 14 verse 7 and in Matthew 26 verse 11. Jesus quoted that. Now, I consulted dictionary to arrive to understand this poverty issue. As pastors, we cast out spirit of poverty all the time. Then I ask myself, is it biblically? Is it really biblically when we do that? We will arrive to find out the answer here. Now, when I read my dictionary, it says to me, poverty, it is a state or condition in which a person or community lack the financial resource and the essential for a minimum standards of living. That is poverty. By understanding these definitions, then you arrive to find out that most of African countries or African men and women are poor, because when the IMF or the World Bank want to categorize us, to say some of us in our countries are living below $1 a day. That is very, very wrong, and we are poor. Another definition is lacking sufficient money to live at a standard considered comfortable or normal in a society. Therefore, you'll find out most of us who have no work, and also we lack sufficient money to live in a standard that is considered to be comfortable or normal in a society. And most of African also are in this. Why I'm talking about African? Because I am an African, and I live in African continent. I understand it very well. On Thursday, by the way, it will be our African days. I have something for you for that. Wait for that video. God bless you in advance for that. Now, there is a consequences of the poverty effect. Most of the poverty effect is always affecting children. Is affecting children. Let me say this. One of our superstar Congolese singer once sing say, the success of a man is always attributed to his father. Also, the failure of a man is always attributed to his father, because they said the father was poor. Therefore, he became also poor. Which I do not agree 100%, because I know some rich kid that are poor also. That's how it is. Okay, that is debatable. Now, the effect of poverty, I say, it always affect the kid, the children, poor health, facility, higher level of unemployment, domestic violence, having many kids in a house, in a household that monthly salary or income is $30, but they have 10 kids. How can they support them? And all is the cycles of poverty that you are continue generation after generation. And to arrive to cut that poverty cycle is very difficult. That's why maybe you are the preacher. They have an occasion to say it is a spirit. We will arrive to see that. Now, those rich countries have a poverty issue. The answer is yes. and even a big yes. When you go to America or North America, in Europe, even Scandinavia country, where they say living standard is very high, you will find the people that they are called homeless. The homeless people. By the way, they have a very even devastating effect because they sleep outside in any weather conditions. They sleep outside. They died when it's too cold. They died. They eat any kind of food. And you find the homeless in the rich country. Therefore, rich country also have a poverty issue that arrive to this to say poverty is not a problem of only of Africans or blacks. It is a problem of humanity. It is a humanity issue, and humanity must arrive to raise up. Even all these organizations, World Food Organizations, UNICEF, and all you name, UN, they all talk, they have seminar conferences on poverty, but nothing until now arrived to eradicate poverty. Now, Deuteronomy chapter 15, that I say where the setting is from verse 1 to verse 11, is God has to make a provisions in how to handle the poverty. Therefore, by God making this provision like this, He did not say cast it out. It makes us to arrive to understand that poverty, it is a humanity issue, not a spirit issue. Hear this. Verse 11 says, for the poor will never cease from the land. Therefore, listen what God said. Therefore, I command you, saying, you shall open your hand wide. Wide. Do not hold it. Open it wide to your brother, to your poor, and your needy in your land. That's why if there is a poor people in one land and no one take care of them, their cry become a sin for those who have it. If you want to count billionaires in this world, there are not even many in African country, in African continent. I don't know if we have more than 20 billionaires. Can you imagine somebody have billion, either they are getting near to a trillion in dollars, what for? When there's people out there suffering with poverty. Now, how did God make provision? Number one of provision is to release everybody who owe you money each and every 7 years. Each and every 7 years, you need to release your brother, your sister who owe you some money. You release him free. That's what it is. And by the way, most of the successful Arab countries, they applying this method. The UAE, the Saudi Arabia, name just few. They applying this method. But it say only foreigner must pay back. But your brother, you release him from your debt. That law, it's called the law of the Lord release. You say, oh yes, but Bishop J, people will abuse it. Yeah, abuse always be there. But abuse must not stop you to accomplish something very well. Remember that. Now, is to have a debt wrong or to borrow wrong? No, it's not. It's not. Some people even quote Roman. They say, no, oh, nobody, nothing. No. To borrow is not a sin. Otherwise, most of these Christians out there are borrowing their cars from borrowing, their houses sleeping is from borrowing. They will be sleeping and driving in sin if you say it's a sin. It's not a sin. When you borrow, you need to pay back. You need to know that. But the more you borrow, the more you will become also a slave to a lender who is lending you that money. Now, the word harden not your heart, and the word open your hand. It's been written in this chapter 15, verse 1 to 11, 3 times. 3 times each. 3 times. And therefore, that's why I'm saying it is not a spirit issue. It is a humanity issue. If poverty was a spirit issue, Jesus is supposed to deal with it because he went at the cross to deal with every matter that is spiritual. And he conquered it and he released us free. Now, poverty, it is a humanity issue. That is why humanity must rise together to arrive to solve poverty. How to solve poverty? That way humanity is failing. That way rich countries, in 70% or 60%, they arrive to succeed because they have a very good way of taxes, collections, and they make their country look beautiful. They have a very proper health care. Even America is struggling with it. Even you find Obamacare, they're still struggling with or to dump it or to keep it. Okay, a health care that you don't need to have this paying of medical aid all the time, but you have an adequate public health care. That means in a certain measure, they alleviate that issue of poverty even to those who have no job. They can rely in the proper service delivery of their government to change. Here in South Africa, the poor have been paid some amount of money. It may not be enough, but they've been paid. That is in a way that arrives to solve a problem of humanity, to alleviate poverty. That I was saying, poverty, it is humanity issue that humanity must deal with it. If we can deal with it properly, God has made a very wise provision to us and has given us ample things to do. And I can assure you, there will be no poor on the earth because they may rejoice to everything. But humanity have no good heart, which I just say Deuteronomy 15 verse 1 to 11 emphasize on that. And they have no good hand, and that's the problem. African countries, I will speak about African countries and the IMF and the World Bank, they make African to remain in eternal poverty and the circle that they cannot come out of it. That's why this violence, domestic violence, bring these eternal circles of poverty where people are poor. The only things they have, they make babies, and that it became a circle of poverty that they can't come out of it. The most things that really bring poverty to people is corruption. Corruption. We need to cease and to stop to have corruptions. And then most of the poverty issue will be alleviated. That's why Jesus said, the poor people always gonna be with you. It is not a spiritual issue. It is not demonic. It is just a humanity issue. And therefore, humanity must arrive to solve a poverty issue. God bless you. Keep subscribing.